Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on tonight? Mark May here. We are here for episode, I want to say 37 maybe, of the Mayhem show, 36, somewhere around there. Guys, we have an awesome show for you tonight with the creator of Nyobi. Mr. Larry Higgins is going to be on tonight, so it's going to be awesome to have him on. We got Lewis Perry back in the house, absent as of last week. We'll be talking to him here shortly as well. Guys, I'm going to throw it to the covers real quick. We got a Kickstarter rolling right now, man. So that Kickstarter's for the Hellbringers trade paperback, where we have all 5 of the issues that we put out this year in the book. So it's going to be really cool. I hope you guys check that out. Don't forget the BNS cover that came out, and is going to be at Nebraska this upcoming weekend for the BNS exclusive. Those guys are an awesome retailer over there. Check them out. And guys, don't forget Plan McDonald Vampirella variant. Go check that out and get one of these from Stephen McDonald, a good guy and awesome dude. He's got an awesome store and an awesome group. So go check it out. John Tancredi says, I left a message at Rhode Island Comic-Con site. Hopefully they show you some love. He's talking about wanting to get a exclusive Hellbringers book out there. We shall see, my friend. I love those guys. We also got the Mark May red variant for the trade paperback. All this is on Kickstarter right now. Those are limited to 25. And then you also have the gold, which is limited to 10. So please go check those out, guys. Without any further ado this evening, we are going to bring on a good pal of mine, Mr. Lewis Perry, ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on, brother? How are you doing? Yes, the Western Mass Macho Man is back in action. I tell you what, doing this as long as I have been doing it, in and out almost every night, your voice starts to crack, your voice starts to go, and it starts to show. You don't want to tell anyone that you're not feeling well, but you got to take a break sometimes. So no Faces and Heels for me last week and no Mayhem show. I had to give my voice a rest. And no DW show as well, but I am back right here in living color. And I am ready to rock and reeling and dancing on the ceiling with my brother from another mother, the one and only Mark May. Yeah, let's do it.
Well, dude, it is it's really good to have you back up in the house, man. Grand Comic-Con's this weekend. I'm going to be in Nebraska, in a couple days. Nebraska,
what are you doing in Nebraska?
It's a big Nebraska. There's Grand Island, Nebraska, brother. That's where we're going to be headed out to for the weekend.
Wow.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome. That's my first time even being in Nebraska, man. It's crazy where comics will take you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, Nebraska. That's like north of Albuquerque or something like that, according to
Bro, that's right. Right in between that is where I live. Crazy, huh?
Yeah, that's according to
you East Coast bastard. All right, so guys, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, my man, Larry Higgins. First off, before I bring him in, I want you guys to know how much I respect this dude. This guy always talks his mind. You guys know how much I love that. I find it extremely entertaining when people don't stick to the script. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Larry Higgins in the house. Ladies and gentlemen.
Of course, I was on mute. I had a boomer
there
moment.
You go.
Boomer moment. You know, what do you think, Doc? Boomer moment? Yeah, boomer moment.
Am I a boomer? Huh? Am I a boomer? Huh? Boom! How about that?
I deserve it already. It starts already.
Larry, what's up, man? How you doing tonight?
You know, I got to tell you, I got surgery tomorrow morning, right? I got to be up in 7 hours. And then I got to go to the hospital, and then they are going to patch this thing called a hernia. So one day tomorrow, I'm going to be out of commission for a little bit. I was actually napping right before I came on here and the alarm clock went off. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go do a show. You know what I mean?
Well, just so you know, that's our favorite activity right before a show too. You always got to get the nap in, man, right before the show starts. It calms your nerves, get you settled.
If I nap, I'm out.
When I watched you guys, I think it was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got it. No, get me off the screen. Get me off the screen. Because I want to talk to that guy over there. Get me off the big screen, man.
Courtney Rose says, "Nice maiden tea, brah."
Yeah, man. But this gentleman right here is a legend already. He's a legend already. That's it, man. You are one entertaining dude. Let me tell you this, right?
Well, I'm OCD.
Well, look, you can
I'm
watch
cold
a lot of comic book broadcasting, right? And let's be honest, right? A lot of it's sort of dry. Hey, here I am. Here's my book. Here it is. But you guys add flair. You guys, not Ric Flair. Come on. No, you guys, woo! I mean, you guys add flair and excitement, and as a character, as like it's entertaining, and I love it. And the thing is, I got a Macho Man story. I met the man. I met the myth.
So have I.
Yeah. So I'm 12 years old, right? And I'm at the car show. And this is like, no, get me off the big screen. I'm at the car show, and there's Macho and there's Elizabeth, and you wait in line, you have your 8x10, you get to go up to them, right? So my buddy Mark, he's ahead of me, right? And so Macho's like, "Oh yeah, good to meet you. What's your name?" And he's like, Mark. He's like, "Okay, Mike, Mitch, Matt," and he rambles off all these names that start with M, right? And then he signs Mark's 8x10, and it says "To Mike" from Macho, and Mark's like wandering off, like, why did he mess up my name, right? And I get up there, and I'm like, keep in mind, I'm 12. Oh my God, it's the Macho Man. I can't believe it. And without missing a beat, those exact sort of same shades you just had on, he goes with one hand, like, right, grabs them, whips them off, stands up, and with his beady little eyes goes, "Ooh, yeah, neither can I." That's it right there, man. Now that looks like a cross between Dusty Rhodes and Macho, but we'll take it. You know what I mean?
Well, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, son of the plumber.
That's it, man. I'm the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, baby.
Yes, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, my son Dustin and Cody right now in AEW.
AEW, they're turning it up, baby. They remind me of the old days. Yes.
With the Four Horsemen, because I am the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Right. I appreciate your comment, your everything you're saying about me. I appreciate. I've been doing the podcasting thing. We're going on 8 years now, almost 9 years. I got my own show. I'm on a wrestling show. I'm helping Mark out here on his show, and I'm on another show in public access TV. I am everywhere. Plus, I've did the wrestling thing as well. And
you were on the show Comic Book Man.
Yeah, and I was on Comic Book Man. And all I have to say to you, my friend, is thank you for the compliments. I really appreciate it. A lot of my interviewing style all has to do with the Macho Man. And I really appreciate your kind words, man. Thank you very much, brother. I really appreciate it. Sky's the limit, space is the place. That's all I gotta say. Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. But I gotta say, I am your friend, but you just gotta remember, I'm Lewis Perry, you're not. I'm the champion, you're not, and I will beat you for the 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Boom, yeah. Dig it.
So, and I don't know if I want to shake your hand or slap your face.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't even want to do a fucking show tonight. I just want to watch the two of you kind of promo on each other for the rest of the night. I think that's totally cool. When you talk about entertainment, this is kind of entertainment right here. So
it's a little chilly here in the lair, and I was actually debating whether to wear one of my Macho jackets or my robe, and I was this close of doing it, and I decided against it at the last minute. But I was actually going to wear.
Well, next time we definitely.
Now I feel bad that I should have.
But here's the thing: now that we met acquaintances, right? I want to bring you on my show because you're going to be a freaking hit, brother. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. It's absolutely. Send me your contact information. I mean, I could be found right.
Yeah.
There, because I'm always hanging out with her, and every Monday night there. And I would love to be on your show anytime, brother. Anytime.
We can talk comics. We can talk wrestling. It's all good. And bring Mr. Mark May with you, if you please.
Whoa! Apparently, I'm not entertaining you, Muff.
I'm just saying. I mean,
not be entertaining.
Usually,
man.
Usually I'm hanging with her, man. This is my real
Well, you
co.
can bring her along too, brother. You know what I'm saying?
I'm getting rid of Lewis at the end of the month, anyways. We're gonna get the Hulk Hogan
Contract's over.
imitator in here. So
Well, look, he's just gonna go to AEW. I mean, what do you think is gonna happen?
that's true.
Yeah.
He totally will. Lewis Perry is all elite. So
All elite, brother.
All elite. Yes.
The elite. You know?
Yeah,
all right,
do you
ladies
think,
and gentlemen, we're gonna get this show rolling here.
There's
We're gonna
a
ask
show tonight.
Larry the
No
first
one told
question.
me.
Larry, what was your what's your favorite place to do a comic convention, and what's your favorite food to eat when you get there?
Food.
What food? Okay, well, all right. So my favorite place was probably Calgary Fan Expo, where I got to meet the Todd father, Todd McFarlane. Got to meet Stan Lee before his passing. Got to meet all kinds of cats. Actually, Jim Shooter was there. You know,
Jim is a good cat.
Bruce Timm was there. Chad Hardin was there. You know, a whole
Big
bunch
fans of Chad Hardin on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Brittany
Yeah,
Lawson.
well, that's when
how
I
you doing?
first met him, because at that point in time, either he was coming off his run or he was still doing a run of Harley Quinn for DC's New 52, right?
Mhm.
And so I had him sign like some Harley Quinn. So I got like Harley Quinn signed by both him and Bruce Timm, like sort of like double signature sort of thing. It was pretty cool. Got to meet Todd, you know, hand him my comic book. It was cool because Todd McFarlane, you would think like if anyone's going to charge for signatures and photographs and stuff, it's going to be old Toddy. You know what I mean? God no, man. When we got there, he walked down to the front row, shook everyone's hand, thanked them for coming. He sat there for 5 minutes talking to each person. You know, he stopped with me, asked me where I was from, and da. I get up to him, you know, I hand him my book, you know, and I'm like, sir, I don't know if you can take gifts or how this is going to work, but you know, you obviously inspired me. You said you probably inspired every single person that's waiting there in line for you. This is my comic book, you know, boom, Nyobi, right? And I said, you know, it's a gift, right? And he looks at it and he flips through it and he goes, oh, and I don't know why I'm going to make him sound like a bad impression of Mickey Mouse, but it's kind of like what it was. And he's like, oh, maybe someday you'll be sitting up here and someone will hand you a comic, right? And blew my mind when he said that, you know, like maybe someday I'll be in that chair and someone will hand me a comic. I say, yay, man, you inspired me. That was it, man. I was on cloud nine for rest of the weekend, right? Stan Lee was sort of like a different experience because we all know that Stan Lee was at the tail end. I don't even think he should have been there, but he was there. So, you know, of course, I'm going to go see Stan. So you get up to Stan and you maybe get 30 seconds with Stan if you're lucky, right? Because it was like an assembling machine. Like you hear all the stories.
They did the Weekend at Bernie's thing, right?
Right. Yeah. They sort of, you know, rolled him out and there he was. And you had this really big guy with bald head standing behind him, like his handler or his bouncer or something. Right?
No, that was the puppeteer. He was just holding him up.
Right. And I go, you know, hey, Stan, you know, obviously I tell him what a great influence he was. And I said, this, you know, again, this is my book, Stan. I have to give the Godfather of Marvel comic books my book, right? Because without you, Stan, there isn't. This doesn't happen, you know. And he just kind of, you know, he didn't even like really look at me. He just kind of looked at the book for a second, and the guy whispers in his ear, right? And I can hear what he says, right? He's like, "This is this guy's book," and all Stan does is the little nod, and they take it back somewhere. So I don't even know if he saw it or what, you know. And then he signed my copy of X-Men, and off I was shuffled away. You know what I mean? Like. But yeah, so that was probably the favorite con. Food, I ate like spicy hot Italian sausages like the entire time I was there. There was like one vendor, and he was like, you know, not that far of a walk, right? And it was sort of like the cheapest place to get lunch. You got like, you know, like $7, like this big ass sausage and like, you know, nice ice can of Coke, and so that fed me for like 3 days straight. You know,
Must have killed the battle.
I got through it.
But now you have a hernia.
Yeah, now I have a hernia. Yeah.
Goddamn sausages.
You know, now it's like on the other side of the country from me. Like I traveled, like, you know, it's basically like be going from like Florida to California. You know what I mean? Like yeah. So that was cool. That was the favorite con.
Wow.
Go ahead, Lewis. Go ahead.
No, I was just what Nyobi. What was your influences to bring out this book, brother? I mean, what was your key influences? What drove it to you? What made you create it? Where did it come from? Did it come from a dream? Did you just like driving down the street one day and a stick hit you in the head? Where did this concept come from? What was the influences?
Well, I mean, I was 16 when I made her, and I'm 46 now, right? So we're talking 1990, a turbulent time called the early 90s, right? And at that time, I was influenced by all sorts of stuff. It was, 90s, late 80s, 90s X-Men. It was anime. It was, Gemini holograms. It was, a variety of things that Nyobi was. But Nyobi was created for a role-playing game called Heroes Unlimited, which was a superhero role-playing game, and she was my character, and that's what I played, and then I would often use her as an NPC when I ran my own superhero games. And that's all she was for the longest time. And I would draw her, and I would draw her very poorly. And I had like a big binder full of Nyobi drawings and other drawings, mostly Nyobi. And I was really into comics, during that time, right? So Bad Girl comics, we're talking like, Witchblade, Evangeline, Darkchild, Lady Death, on top of, all the classics like Amazing Spider-Man, Batman, you know what I mean? But a lot of Bad Girl comics, And back in 2000, I want to say 11, I got back into I was out for a while, and I got back in about 2008, like collecting comics, right? Like after the big 90s boom and everything sort of fell apart, and everything was saturated. They killed Superman, they brought him back, all that sort of stuff. I was out, and then I got back in 2000. I was like walking in the comic shop, and I saw like New Mutants Volume 3, and it had like this cover with magic of the X-Men, and I was just like, I gotta have magic in my life. I need some magic, So I bought the book, and the next thing you know, I'm adding another book to my pull list. And next thing you know, there's 15 books to my pull list, and I'm back in. You know what I mean? And
that's what they think about. I'm back in, yeah.
And then something really weird happened, because I wasn't doing conventions then. You know what I mean? I went to like role-playing game conventions, but I didn't go to a Comic-Con. But there was a Comic-Con happening in 2011. I go to Halifax, Nova Scotia. First Comic-Con I've been to, God and forever. And I'm walking around, and I find this magical place, gentlemen, right? It's called Artist Alley, right? And lo and behold, in Artist Alley, there are artists there everywhere from industry pros to guys just getting their feet wet, guys and girls who are willing to draw characters for money, right? And so here I am with my backpack and my binder full of bad Nyobi drawings. And I'm watching everyone get like Harley Quinn drawn, or Catwoman, or Wonder Woman, or Deadpool, right? And I'm like, screw this. I'm wondering if these guys will draw my characters. I would love to see what she would look like through the eyes of someone who actually knows what they're doing. So I started asking, like, hey, I said, this might seem like a weird request. I didn't know if it was or wasn't, but I said, I don't want you to draw the usual stuff. I said, I got my character. Take a look at her, and if you're willing to draw her, I would love for you to do that, right? And next thing you know, they're all, I only ever had one person say no, they wouldn't do it because of like copyright thing, they were, but everyone else, and I'm talking again from industry pros, all the way down to local artists was drawing her. And it was like, once you start seeing those come in, I was like, oh my God, this looks so cool. It's so badass. They're so much better than I do. I wonder what this would be like as a comic book. And I sort of toyed with that idea for a couple of years, right? And I'm sitting at the D&D table, 2014. Now we fast forward 3 years, and I've gone to a few cons, and I've accumulated a bunch of art. And I go to the boys at the D&D table. I said, after all these superhero games we played, I said, we have our own essentially Marvel universe right here. And it said, we've had 20, 30 years worth of stories that was just between us here at the table. Because it's generally the same guys I gained with, right? Like all through high school. And up. And so we should just like make comics. And I got laughed out of the room. You can't do it. No one's going to do it. No, you're never going to be able to do it. And I just like, whoa, man. Like, here I am, like being all serious, like, no, we can do it. And they literally thought it was a joke, and or that I wouldn't have the follow through to go through with it. I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. Wrote a script, brought it to the local con, started showing a couple of the local artists because I knew I didn't have any money and I needed to find just a couple of buddies who sort of wanted to jump on board and see if we can make something happen. And we did the first Nyobi. It took us about a year to put it together. So David Coates, local guy here, drew it. Andre Boulard did the cover, and of course I wrote it. And we made Nyobi #1, and we went and kickstarted it, and we made a whole $2,100 Canadian, which is about 56 cents United States, right?
Yeah.
Basically nothing, but to me, it was like the biggest thing. I think we had like 69 backers, and it was like, whoa, okay, cool. I made a comic, and it was meant to be just something we sort of sold locally at the show and maybe bring a few copies to the local shop. And that was going to be the end of it. You know what I mean? Then we decided we were going to do a second issue. But the team had already broken apart. David Coates went on to draw a different book called Psychosis, which he was offered 50% ownership of. So he wasn't going to do Nyobi. He's busy now. Andre wanted to do fantasy trading cards. And so that's sort of like the route he was in. And I'm like, oh, now I don't have a team. What do I do? Put out a little ad. I need an artist for Nyobi. And like a week or two went by and didn't really have any bites. And then I get this message from this one guy named Steve Boyu, and he's like, and he's really French, right? So he's like, oh, yeah, I like to draw the Nyobi. And I'm like, whoa, okay. He says, like, yeah, I backed the Kickstarter. I really like the character. I want to draw the Nyobi. And I'm like, oh, let's see your stuff, brother. Because I had a lot of guys try to do it, but none of them could show me sequential art, right? It was always sort of like a single image or whatever. But he started showing me sequential art of a submission he made to Brian Polito's Lady Death.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Are you sure you want to do this? Like, let's talk a price. And, I said, I don't got a lot of money, man. No, that's okay. No, I really just want to draw the Nyobi. Okay. So, paid him what I could, and we drew Nyobi #2. And then for a cover, we got Mr. R.B. White, who's also Canadian. But he's worked for a variety of people. I didn't even know what his resume was when I hired him. I just kind of liked his artwork, and I was like, hey, you'd be cool. But he's done work for Nickelodeon. He's done work for Heavy Metal Magazine, Zenoscope. Now he's done stuff for Action Lab Comics. He's done Vampirilla covers for Dynamite, just like Mr. Mark May here has, And he gave us like 2 beautiful covers for #2. And then we did like, 2,700 on #2 Kickstarter, you know what I mean? Then we did #3, and that went to like 3,300 or 3,400, and then we did #4, which was like $4,000, you know what I mean? And then we did like the Avani one shot, who was a villain, and that did 3,700. And then everything stopped because at that point, Steve had a bunch of personal stuff going on in his life. He also had 2 other projects he wanted to work on. And so then again, now I'm left without an artist, At this point, all the comics were black and white, all black and white, right? Because couldn't afford color. We're only making barely enough to get it out. Everything's coming out of my pocket, right? And I need an artist. So I put out the call. I need an artist for Nyobi, And then I met this guy through the years of YouTube named Kevin Perron Rodatelli. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Does a book called Glacial. He's with Behemoth Comics now. Anyway, he's like, yeah, I represent a bunch of people. It was almost like he was like an agent or something, right? And he goes, I can hook you up. He's like, what's your budget? I tell him my budget. He says, what style are you looking for? I said, well, as close to like Bad Girls 90s we're going to get, It's like, okay, I got a couple of guys for you. And he hooks me up with a guy named Samir Sameo from, I believe he's Brazilian. And we start doing Nyobi Birthright, Birthright 1 and 2. And at this point, I knew you had to level up color. So I hired Dan O'Hara as our colorist. So it was between him and a guy named Russ Cassidy. And both of those guys were like 2 front runners to color Nyobi. And it could have been either one of them, right? But Dan sort of edged out Russ just by a sliver, But I still had Russ do something for us. But Dan sort of won the official job. And then we were in color. We put out that book, $7,000 Canadian. Okay, cool. That's the highest we ever done. I was ecstatic, right? We put out book number 2, 16,000 Canadian. Whoa! Right now we doubled it, right? We went from 2,100 Canadian to 16,000. We go ahead and we do Nyobi Origins, this time with a different artist, though. But then we do 24,000 Canadian. Just boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Like almost, and as soon as we went to color and changed up the art a little bit, and we sort of like did a soft reboot, it's just. And in retrospect, those aren't like exactly the biggest numbers, but they're big to me. I mean, we did 5 figures. I mean, cool. From a guy who did 2,100 Canadian to 24,000 Canadian, was mind blowing. And I mean, I know you asked me a short question, but that's the long answer to a short.
No, dude, I'm telling you, I was captivated by that. But my next question is, where did the name come from?
I've just made it up.
Really?
Yeah, I just made it up. Just like I did with sort of like Dungeons and Dragons names for characters that I would play. I would just throw a bunch of random letters together and see what I can make sound cool. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Nyobi happened to be it, and I spelt it the way that I spelt it. I looked it up later, turned to find out that it's like a name for like someone of beauty, that sort of thing. But I didn't know that at the time. I just, this sounds kind of neat, and she's supposed to be half Japanese and kind of pop star, and it kind of had that like pop star sound to it. Nyobi would be like Madonna, you know what I mean? No last name sort of thing, even though she does have a last name. That's the first issue right there. That's the first black and white issue that we ever did way back in the turbulent time of 2014/15.
Well, dude, I mean, I'm rocking it. I love obviously I love the fluorescent covers and everything, and it's just it's awesome. The color scheme is great. The name itself is fantastic. And what's the premise of the book for our listeners right now?
Who did this cover, real quick?
That is done by local artist here, Andre Boulard. He is like the biggest underrated talent you'll ever see. But locally, he's a huge deal. But no one really knows him like from abroad. You know what I mean? I mean, that's starting to change now. But
he looks like a chick.
No. He's changed art though. Like he's not doing much comic book stuff anymore. Like he does more like drawings of people's pets and characters, and he just makes a killing locally just doing that. Like he's gonna put out like a pet art book. I help him set up the Kickstarter for it, and but like he's an artist. He was in the comics for a while, then he wanted to do trading cards for a while, then he shifted to this and shifted to that. You know what I mean? So
totally makes sense.
How he did it, yeah.
No, the style it clicks with the book. What is the premise of the book for our listeners?
So again, she's a Japanese pop star who has the ability to teleport. So sort of like Magic of the X-Men or Blink. She makes portals.
Yep.
But she finds out early on in the Black and White series that her powers are slowly killing her, because it turns out the body isn't made to withstand jumps from time and space from place to place. It turns out that's somewhat of a system shock to it. You know what I mean? And she learns that, and so it comes to a point of like every time she uses her power, she's warned it could cause her some significant health issues. So she's not careful, she overdoes it, right? And so she has to learn when's the right time to use her powers, when's the right time to jump into action. And, sort of the thing with her is much like with me in real life. She's impulsive. She just kind of goes out and does it and doesn't really care about the ramifications until later, All
right, so what's going on in what we're looking at right here?
So that's from Birthright. That was like that. This is a cover for Birthright number 2, but this was like basically the first of our newer stuff when we went to color, and that is Nyobi taking on a character named Ariel. And the thing with me is I write sometimes about social issues. Like that first book was about teen suicide and depression. This one here, and this is going to be a hot topic for some people, but this one was about abortion. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it turns out that there was a young woman who was having a baby, but she found out her baby was going to be a genome, which is basically a mutant in my world. It stands for genetic anomaly. And it was growing wings. And her mother had put this out on social media, what was going on. She showed off the ultrasound and said her daughter was considering aborting the freak baby, right? And well, this led to huge protests. Either pro-life, pro-choice. Not only that, but it was pro-genome, anti-genome. You know what I mean? So this sort of like a big melting pot of chaos. And Nyobi was basically sent to protect the young mother and make sure that the mother was going to be able to do whatever she wanted to do, right? So for Nyobi's position, she was, pro-choice. Ariel, however, was a little bit different. Ariel was sort of like pro-life, and she saw this baby with wings and made the assumption that the baby was going to be a lot like her, because Ariel's got this delusion that she thinks she's a modern-day angel. Okay? And Ariel was going to go save that baby no matter what, And this led to a huge clash with them.
Okay, cool.
But the way I write, you know what I mean, is much like the way you would read X-Men from back in the day. Everyone says that comics are political, and maybe that's true to a certain degree, but they were never sort of in your face political or so heavily one-sided. So when you read Nyobi, you're never going to go, oh, Larry was definitely pro-choice or Larry was definitely pro-life. You're not going to get that. You're going to get a head-scratching story that by the time you're done reading it, you go, wow, man, that was pretty heavy. You know what I mean?
That sounds really cool, honestly.
Mark, Phil Lockler.
Phil, brother. That's Demon Phil.
Demon Phil. All right. He said he is pretty freaking cute. I don't know. I think he's talking about Mark.
He's definitely talking about Larry, brother.
Well, listen.
Right.
Mike Wheeler, tell us the line.
He is pretty fucking cute.
And I am just.
Oh, wow. Mr. Sarcasm.
I wasn't quite sure right there. I just
See,
saw.
here was the thing. We had this guy, and I don't want to get too much into drama, but there was this guy a couple of years back named Mike Wheeler, and he tried to start up like his own sort of crowdfunding site.
Mm-hmm.
And we by me and several other creators who were going to get involved with it realized that it wasn't legit. It was a scam, and we started pulling out. Not only did we start to pull out of out of his project, but we started calling him out on some stuff, and he got angry about it, right? And he said that anyone that has 200 backers on Kickstarter, and I play this every time I run my show, anyone here, I'll just play the line.
I say good, man. If you have 200 backers on Kickstarter, you're irrelevant.
And at this point, I just hit 200 backers on my Kickstarter, right? So he was basically calling me and everyone else that does what I do, that we do, struggling to get to that 200 backer or even 100 backers or any backers, irrelevant, that basically we don't matter, And he said that I was cute, you know what I mean? So I ran with it. I'm like, okay, at 200 backers, then you become cute. At 100 backers, you're adorable, all right? At 300 backers, what was it? You're sexy. At 400, you become smoking. At 500, you become a knockout. At 600, you're drop dead gorgeous. Okay, so we develop a scale for it. You know what I mean? And we memed the shit out of him, man, to the point that he has gone away and hasn't been seen in like 2 years. You know what I mean? And so my little baby Yoda was me being cute. So if you ever see me show baby Yoda, that's me making fun of them,
All right, that is
that is the story, ladies and gentlemen.
Right there.
You go.
Yes,
that's
taking care of business. That's going old school right there. Mark, do you have any questions?
I do actually, man. I want to put this up here real quick. Phil, throwing this up. Respect to you for proving them wrong and continuing to do so. That's the last we'll be talking about that tonight, guys. I'm going to ask you this big question right here, Larry. What was your all-time favorite comic book ever?
Well, it's going to be hard, right? Because there's so many cool books. I mean, the one that sticks out the most would have been like the first time I ever sort of like picked up the X-Men, which would have been like X-Men Annual 10. And it was drawn by the legend Arthur Adams, otherwise known as Art Adams. You know what I mean? And that book sort of hooked me. Before that I had comic books, but more or less they were like Archies and Richie Riches, and you know what I mean, sort of like the kiddie, comics that you would get back in the day, But as far as like real legit sort of comic book, like I remember walking into my very first comic shop and go, whoa, what the hell is this place, right? And like there's like boxes of comics and their bags and boards, and they all look so cool, and it's like stuff.
It was
everywhere.
heaven.
Yeah, man, it was heaven, and I bought X-Men Annual 10 there, and I was just like, it blew my mind. And next thing you know, I'm going back to this magical place, digging through back issues to get stuff I could afford. I remember buying X-Men 129, the first appearance of Kitty Pryde for $10, and I just thought, like, to me, $10 then was a lot of money. Like, oh, I just spent $10 on a comic, But I still have it. It's probably like one of the few comics that didn't get like perished when I sold them all back in the day. You know what I mean? Like I kept that one because that one was like my first big back issue. It meant something, But yeah, I gotta say it was probably X-Men Annual. I don't know if it's the best comic I ever read, but certainly the one that stands out the most. All
right, let me ask you a heartbreaking question. Why did you sell your collection?
I got into my 20s. Comics weren't as cool as they used to be. I was a party animal. I wanted to go out and drink and chase the fluff, and
Makes total sense.
And I was hard up for money. I wasn't doing much for work, and I ended up selling the collection on pennies of the dollar. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're probably talking about a good 7 or 8 long boxes at the time. Worth of
Okay.
stuff. And it all sort of went piece by piece by piece. It didn't all go at once, but whenever I needed drinking money or something, what I mean?
Oh yeah, totally makes sense, dude.
It breaks my heart.
Right? Well, I mean, if it means anything to you, I got 13 long boxes now.
All right,
too much.
Have you? All right, let me ask you a question. Have you been going on the hunt to rebuild that collection? Have you been going on the hunt and saying, okay, I need this book back in my collection. I need that book back in my collection.
I've done that somewhat, right? Because some books I'm probably just never going to be able to get again just because of the price of them. Like I'm probably never going to be able to afford off the cuff an Amazing Spider-Man 300 because, that's just a pricey book and I just don't have the money for it, right? So some of the key issues that I would have had back in the day are might be hard to attain now just because everything's gone up in price and the way eBay is and that sort of stuff. But what I could like gather back, I have gathered back, like I've been like rebuilding like my Witchblade collection. That's something I've been putting back together. I've been going back and finding old issues of X-Men that I can afford, some of the Spider-Man stuff I had. A lot of it's like, Bad Girl comics still, like, anytime I go to the comic shop, I always flip through their Evangelines and their Dark Childs and see if there's anything.
Dude, hologram Darth Childs, man. Anytime I see one, I'm always picking it up just because they look so damn good from back in the day.
Randy Queen is the man, He was a little slow getting out the books, but they were cool when you got them. You know what I mean?
All right, so what's your holy grail?
I want to add this comment real quick before we move on. Phil's saying, I find it reassuring that Larry went through all he did and still defied the odds and solidified the Nyobi brand. Larry, that's also one of the reasons I like you a lot is because you defy the odds.
I just think people just leave me alone now because they know they're not going to get me. You know what I mean? Like it's do they really want to be a meme on my show? Because that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Hey, whoa. You want me to be on your show? I mean, I'm going to be a meme on your show.
No, but you're not someone that's come at me. You know what I mean?
You deserve to be a meme, though, for sure.
Or try to take me down like Phil.
In a good way. In a good way.
Even Phil's talking about all the sort of adversity and sort of crap that comes along with this business, especially lately, the internet has brought that forth. Social media has brought that forth. A division in opinions has all brought that forth. And, it's kind of turbulent times, no matter sort of what industry you're in, via comic books, television, whatever. And so you put up with a lot of crap. The minute you sort of put yourself out in the public eye and you start expressing your own opinions, you're now subject to the scrutiny of others, right? So that happens. Yeah.
It does. It definitely does. I definitely did not hold back for the first 5 years of my comic career. And Lewis knows, he knew me back then too. But for the past 2 years, I've definitely held back a little bit just to try to get more work. You know what I mean? And I mean, there's times where I just want to say something, but luckily, man, like right now I got Adina and she's just like, take that post down, or don't fucking say this to this person, or don't say that to that person. And she's like, just, keep it together, and, just don't be like you were 5 years ago.
Yeah,
You know
I
mean?
probably need a little bit more of that in my life. I've told a couple of people, if you ever think I'm going too far, yank the chain and I'll come back.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, man. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's cool to have people that can help you out like that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you got to be you, bro.
We got to dump a co-host.
You do got to be, and you got to be true to yourself, and you just got to, take the bruises as they come. You take the wins and the failures, all at the same time, right? There's no stopping what we do now, despite any sort of turbulent times that may have had, because there's always some good times, right? But I mean, now we're being published by Antarctic Press, so you're gonna be able to get Nyobi in stores. You don't have to go to Kickstarter, you don't have to go to Indiegogo, you don't have to wait 3 or 4 months to get a book in the mail. I mean, you could just literally go to the comic shop next month and buy Exciting Comics 17 and get Nyobi for $4.99.
Yeah, let's talk about that just a little bit, brother. That right there in itself is pretty goddamn inspiring, that you were able to get your book with Antarctic Press and your character. Can you tell us a little bit about that next and the deal that you made with them?
Yeah, I harassed them for almost 3 years straight. This is pretty much how that happened. I mean, I had submitted to them years ago, like, during the black and white days. They never really answered back. I have, no idea what they thought then, but basically, it was, you need more work, was what was kind of relayed to me afterwards. Okay. Yeah, fine. No problem. We submitted to a bunch of publishers. We submitted to, Peter Simeti's, Alternative Press. We had submitted to Image Comics. I submitted to Antarctic Press. Antarctic Press, though, was kind of the place I really wanted to be, because I used to read their books back in the day. I was a big fan of Ninja High School, back in the day. Because even as a 14, 15-year-old, there were still indie comics out there. They just weren't like Kickstarter comics. They were just like non-Marvel, non-DC comics you find in the shop. And I was very attracted to sort of that anime style that Ben Dunn had going on at the time. So I was like into things like Robotech, and from Comico, right? And I bought Ninja High School, and I was buying, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from Mirage Studios before they were eating pizza and saying cowabunga, back when they all wore red and it was more grim and dirty, Usagi Yojimbo. So I was reading black and white comics, and Ninja High School happened to be one of them. And there was a few other titles that came out from Antarctic Press afterwards, but that was sort of like, man, if I can get with them, that would almost make it full circle. Because I remember trying to draw the Ninja High School characters when I was 14, because they would run an annual every year, and they would do like this sort of like fan contest. So if you drew anywhere from 2 to 12 pages and they really liked it, they would print it in their comic book, right? Because at that time I thought I was going to be a comic book artist. Didn't realize I couldn't draw worth shit. But I tried, So I mean, to have Nyobi in an Antarctic Press book, to me, is mind-blowing. For one, I never thought we'd get this far. If we just did that first black and white issue and that had been it, just locally, we put it together and we were done, that would have been great. Oh, hey, we made a comic book. Cool. You know what I mean? I could scratch that one off the bucket list and move on with life. But it became much more than that, and who knows what's going to happen now. How it came about was I had resubmitted to them. I submitted Birthright to them. I made an overture to Ben Dunn. I was associating with guys who had already been with Antarctic Press. I've been working with, Matt Weldon, who does the book Punchline with Bill Williams for AP. I worked with Luigi Terrell, who draws for Brian Ball's Rags. You know what I mean? I had talks with Tim Lim, who does Common America. I love the stuff that was coming out of Mount Olympus Comics with Patriotica. It looked like to me that AP was sort of going in a bad girl sort of route, and I just said, you guys need Nyobi, and they said, we agree. And I said, great. And they said, how about we put it in Exciting Comics? We'll put you in the anthology series, and we'll see how that goes. And so we agreed to do that, and then it became, we want more Nyobi. And I'm like, I would love to give you more Nyobi, but I want it in her own title. You know what I mean? Like I don't, and starting off with exciting comics is cool, but in the future, can we just do one shots and miniseries and just have it underneath the Nyobi title? And they're like, yeah, give us everything you got. So, they're gonna publish Nyobi Origins when we get it finished. They got that slated for April of 2022. Mm-hmm. So I mean, they already got it penciled in. We'll see what happens, but it looks like they're going to be the publisher of Nyobi for the direct market diamond distribution, and we'll still be able to do our Kickstarters. So I'm like, so what you're telling me is I can keep doing what I'm doing. I can do my Kickstarters in Indiegogo, sell them online, sell them however I want to. Plus, you're going to publish it and put it in stores, and I might get a check in the mail 3 months later. Yeah, I'm going to do that. You know what I mean?
What's really cool is actually that first appearance in Arctic Press for the mainstream. I feel like that's going to be a really key issue, man. Like, so all the people out there that are listening, you should really see if you can find that and pick that up.
Comes out
because this character is going to be around a while, guys, and that seems like that is, it's not a number one, but it's a first appearance, folks. So.
Well, technically not, because it's in
the Kickstarter, yeah, but also
the first appearance is Nyobi number 1 from 2015, right?
Right.
So that'd be like having issue number 1 first printing of Eastman and Large Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know what I mean? Very low print run, like Walking Dead number 1. No one knew that was going to be a big thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you have like the original OG issue number 1 Nyobi, and it ever does become a thing, then you got something really cool and really rare. That maybe you only had 300 or 400 copies circulating out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be the first appearance in the mainstream for sure. It's got Randy Green doing the cover.
That's kind of what I was pulling towards. I wasn't really trying to pull towards the first appearance overall. For sure.
But that might mean something to some people, though, right? Like if it was me, I'm going to want the very, very first appearance, regardless of mainstream or not, right?
Absolutely.
That's what the collector I am. But for the mainstream, yeah, it was, the cover was done by Randy Green, who did Witchblade. I mean, how cool is that, right? So after Michael Turner, Randy Green came on, and I had no idea, he would draw Nyobi, but I messaged him. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, I got this character, and you were like, big inspiration. I, got like all your Witchblade issues basically. And he hit me back up and said, yeah. He said, I'm basically, coming out of comic book retirement, and I want to do comics again. So we helped Randy Green get out of comic book retirement, and now he's out there doing covers for people. So it's really cool.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So
if you had a chance for Nyobi to become mainstream, or what I mean by mainstream, I'm talking about on a streaming service, which service would it be? And would it be live action or animated?
I think it'd be better suited for like a really cool animated cartoon. You know what I mean? But it wouldn't be like a kiddie cartoon. It'd be more like an anime. A serious anime with some lightheartedness in it, but maybe something you would see. Like, you ever watched the Invincible cartoon?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Maybe along those lines. You know what I mean? Something like that would be really, really cool. I mean, a live action would be neat, but I think starting off, I think a cartoon and animated series, and for streaming service, I mean, I'm in Canada. I'm pretty limited what we get. We can't get HBO Max here. We can't get a couple of things here. So I guess the obvious answer would be Netflix, but I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, Netflix, if you're watching, have your people call my people. We'll do lunch.
There you go. Who would voice her?
See, I don't know. I don't even know who would play her in a live action movie. She's half Japanese, half American.
Okay, so we're gonna go animated. Who do you think, when you are reading your script, when you're writing your script, when you are looking at a panel, your artist submits a panel, and you're looking at your words going to this panel, and you are looking at it like before you submit it to your editor.
There's no editor. I'm the editor.
Okay, great, fair enough. Whose voice do you hear in the head? You have to have a voice for your character.
Yeah, but I think it's just a voice.
How does she sound?
I think it's just a voice I got made up in my mind, though, because I role played her for so many years. I already, but I never got a particular person in my head. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But sometimes you'll watch something, you'll hear a voice, and you go, Geez,
There you go.
Like for instance, I'll play this little voice line here.
He's pretty cute.
I mean, that should be Nyobi right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, perfect. There you go. Do we know who that girl is?
No, we don't. I met her on a live stream once, and I clipped her, and that was about it. I got her to say the line, and yeah, you know. I think her name is Allison, but I don't even know that. You know what I mean? I think her name is Allie. I think that's what she went by.
Allie. All right, Mark, you have anything?
We got the last question of the night here before we turn it over to Lewis.
So cool.
Oh, yeah, I got nothing tonight. Okay.
So the last question of the night, my friend, is first off, we're going to have you back on because we haven't been able to get enough questions with you in the night. First off, we were showing this too. This is Justin Hunt.
That is right? Justin Hunt, yeah.
Justin Hunt. Justin Hunt's a great artist.
Well, and the colors are done by Sanju. And they just blew it out of the park. I said, give me something cyberpunk with lots of neon, and they delivered, you know.
Sanju's a man. I would go to war for that guy.
Yeah.
My last question for you, sir, is
he's thinking hard.
Well, I only got one left. So
yeah, you make it a good one, man. You know what I mean? And then I got a question for you. I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay. I guess the question would be, and Lewis likes this question a lot. We usually ask it towards the end of the show, but I'm going to go ahead and go with it because I think it's probably the best one for the fans listening right now. We've talked a lot about where you've been today, and we've talked a lot about, you know, your book and your character. But what about where do you want to go? What's next for you? What's next for Larry? What's on the agenda? Do you want to do more characters? Do you want to do more books? Do you want to do books for other publishers? Tell us what you want to do.
Space is the place, sky's the limit.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
dream always rises to the crop. wait, to the top.
You know, obviously it's going to be Nyobi. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm already kind of where I'm at, where I want to be with it. Like, you know, we got Kickstarters that keep growing. We're at the Antarctic Press. I don't see any reason why I need to be with any other publisher, you know. So I think we already sort of hit where I want to be in comics and just keep that going and keep that growing. As far as, you know, expanding it, I'm in no rush or, you know, to do that because I don't think it's ready yet. I think, you know, a lot of people rush into, I want to make a game or I want a bunch of merch or toys or whatever. And I mean, like, that's all cool and stuff. But before you get there, you know, you really got to have a brand. You really got to have it built. Like, you need to be doing 6-figure crowdfundings before you even, like, sort of, you know, to me, walk in that world. You know, doing a trading card or something as a stretch goal is one thing. But I think a lot of guys, you know, they sort of try to take on more than they can chew, you know, by, you know, trying to do all the merch or trying to get a game or get something going. I'm cool just doing what we're doing, you know, and if an offer came down the pipeline and someone made an overture to me about a show or about a game or whatever the case may be, or a different series, I would listen to it. You know, I would listen to sort of any proposal that's made. As far as other characters go, yeah, I got other characters. They're all going to end up in Nyobi. You know, we'll and if anything sort of strikes hard or hits home with people, then maybe we'll take that character and put her in her own. Because most of my heroes are women. We'll you know, we would take that other character and maybe put her in a one shot or a mini series and throw it out there and see if there's, you know, any bites. But the thing about comic books, especially sort of at the level that we do them at, is they take a while to put together. So, you know, to make more than one series at a go, you know, because we're talking like it takes 3 or 4 months to put one of these together, and then you got to run your crowdfunding, right? It's not like we can put out something every month. You know, that's why they come in one shots, or like the next book we're going to do is called Nyobi Outbreak, and it's going to be a 3-part miniseries, and that's sort of going to be like my biggest endeavor yet, you know. But yeah, there's no rush for anything. I just sort of like the vibe right now. You know what I mean?
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you know I started out making a card game before I did the comics. And he's not wrong, because here's the thing is you're trying to sell a card game to a comic audience before you even have your comics.
Yeah.
So all the characters, all the card game stuff, it's a great card game, folks. But here's the thing is, you got to build that audience first. You got a great product, but you got to have the audience to sell it to. That's what he's trying to say. So, dude, I got the merch right now. I just got enamel pins and coins to put on the Kickstarter for the trade paperback that we got right now.
Well, that was going to be the question I was going to ask you. Is you need to tell me a little bit about Hellbringers because I don't know.
Well, brother, can I show you a video?
Yeah, of course.
I think the video will do a little bit more justice. Don't you, Lewis?
Absolutely, brotherhead. Hit the tape. Through the video scope you go.
Master his mannerisms,
Dig it. Go.
Right.
Here we go.
I'm just going to pause this for a second. I'm going to fast forward this shit because it's going to give dramatic pause effect and drag for like another 5 minutes. So there we go.
Hi, it's James Cosmo here. I've heard that there's a new comic coming out, and it's called Hellbringers, Dawn of the Devil, and that's coming out supported by Kickstarter. So it might be worth a watch if you're into things like mythology, history, and war, like I am. It might be worth a watch. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi, Mark. Charity is going to help.
Skip it, brother. I'm sorry, Lewis. I can't show you that part.
Everyone's got to have, yeah. This is it, right? Everyone's got to have standard Wilson cover.
So here you go, Larry. This is where it starts to show a little bit of the interiors here. So you kind of see a little bit of what's going on with the story, and then I'll explain it a little bit more after.
Yeah. Now, is this you drawing all of it?
No, sir. So on this one, we've got Corey Hampshire and Russ Cassidy on colors, and Ron Charles Williams does the second half of the book. So that gives you a little bit of what's going on with that. I am gonna take that vid off there, but so Larry. So basically, what's going on in the book, and that's Hellbringers: Dawn of the Devil. That was it's still, to me, that's my favorite chapter we've done so far. And yeah, that was back in March, and we've done 2 books since then. But for some reason, that one sticks out as my favorite. So I like to show.
What's your role in said particular book?
What's that?
What's your role? What do you do on the book?
So I basically, all right. So I'm the writer, I'm the creator, I'm the editor, I'm the shipper.
The shipper, yeah.
I like to call it that because I ship every single book. I get them printed. I get the artist. I pretty much do everything there is to do management wise. You know what I mean? As far as interior art for the books, I've never really had an interest to sit down for 3 months at a time and try to do storytelling with my art. So I've hired people to do it, and it's been really, really awesome, to tell you the truth, because like you were talking about earlier, getting to see your project and your passion come to life through other people's interpretation of what they're drawing, kind of like how they draw it, I guess is the best way to put it, with you doing what you're telling them to do, is probably the greatest feeling in the world. And to see it in paper, like we just got ties that bind us today, and dude, like there's no better feeling than opening the book for the first time and just feeling it and seeing all the hard work that we've done. There's nothing better, like, because you bust your ass for 3 months chasing artists, chasing all sorts of stuff, trying to remember deadlines, trying to remember other people's stuff, you know what I mean, trying to be nice at the same time. You're just stressed out as fuck, you know what I mean? And a lot of people don't get like how stressful the job is, you know what I mean?
Man, preach.
But at the same time, I'm trying to be a cover artist too, Larry. Like, it's not just the publishing gig, and it's not just the artist gig. The artist gig was hard enough as it was last year by itself, but now this whole publisher gig is 10,000 times different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's so rewarding. Like you mentioned, when you get that book in your hand for the first time, like I remember getting the very first Nyobi, and it's just like, oh my God, I can't believe we did this, Yeah. But that feeling never changes. Like, we've done like 9 different comics, and on the 9th one, I open up the box and it's still the same feeling.
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
and here's the thing. This stays. I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to say it, but let's just put it this way. Making your own comic book is better than doing one for somebody else. That's all I'm going to say, folks. Literally the best feeling in the world.
Well, I think you're seeing that shift right now, where everyone's sort of looking at that sort of creator-owned market, as opposed to, say, working for a page rate with a company that's going to basically own everything you give them.
Absolutely. And
we're seeing creators leave these companies by the droves, and doing either various indie projects of their own. They're going over to Substack. They're you know what I mean. They're shifting positions.
Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, Mr. Lewis Perry.
Mark May and the Mayhem Show. We are rocking and reeling, dancing on the ceiling each and every Monday night. Right here on the Mayhem Show. That's all I got for you tonight. I am Lewis Perry. You are not. You're my friend, but I'm gonna beat you. Larry, it was nice meeting you. Hit me up if you want me on your show.
Absolutely.
I am Perry from the Angry Geeks Show.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cut the next promo. This is Mark May in the house, coming at you with Mark May's Mayhem Show with Lewis Perry as my co-host. We're the greatest tag team in the world, and we're coming to take those tag team title belts next weekend in Alabama, Birmingham, Ram Jam. Oh, here we come, baby. Bam, bam. I can't hear you.
I got your Ram Jam right here, brother. You want to cut a promo? Let's cut a promo.
Cut a promo, sir. Cut a promo.
Actually, I got nothing.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough when they throw you on the spot like that, right?
Yeah. No,
dude, it was great having you on. Phil says great show. Phil seems like he's a big fan of yours as well, man. He said Larry may be outspoken, but he's a class act and he stands by his values at Bad Boys for Life. I think that's really awesome of him to say that. That's another thing.
Phil is the Johnny Carson of comic book late night talk.
Oh yeah. I've been on his show. So I know what's up. I'd like to be on yours sometime as well. I do sense the values in you. I think that's why I kind of reached out to you when I did, because sometimes you sense a good person and you want to be friends with them and want to be your friend, buddy. So
we're buddies already, buddy.
Now we are, yeah. But hey, here's the thing: we got to tell all these people where they can find you.
Under a table somewhere, on an operating bed tomorrow. But basically, Nyobi.
Also, good luck with that tomorrow, man.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
real.
No, I mean, I'm stressed out about it, but I'll get through it. But Nyobi Comic, like on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. I mean, it's all pretty much the same, right? You put in Nyobi Comic and you hit that search button, you're gonna find me. You know, you'll find me. I appreciate you having me on the show. It was great talking to you, man. I don't know where Lewis went, but it was great talking to him too. So wherever you are, Lewis, yeah, right.
He's only in for 1 hour, and then we gotta go to bed, man.
Yeah, like I always say, I'm gonna keep my show to like an hour and a half, and I end up going for like 4 hours.
Yeah. Well, I know that me and you could do that as well. But I got a show I got to get ready for tonight with packing up comics and shit because we're going to Nebraska for Great Island Comic Con. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, when Lewis gets off the show and takes off his Macho Man hat and his robe, this is what he looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So I just want you guys to remember. From Overwatch.
Speaking of Comic Cons, I'll throw in the last plug. At New York Comic Con, I won't be there, but Nyobi will be, in the sense that Pete Vosk has a table, and Pete is in cool with a bunch of us indie creators, and we all sent him a bunch of books, right? So myself, Max from Mary Machine Gun, Sam from 47 Furious Tales, and a couple others. So if you're at New York Comic Con next week and you want Nyobi, go find Peter Vask. He's going to have a handful of copies on Nyobi and a handful of copies of other books you've seen on Kickstarter. So if you missed out, you're at the con, go find Pete Vask, buy some Nyobi, get some Mary Machine Gun, get 47 Furious Tales, get whatever else he might have on the table, and hit the man up for a commission.
Also, McLean McGuire, I'll have Hellbringers books next week at New York Comic Con too. So figured I'd throw that out there while we're talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big show. I'd love to be able to go there someday, but it's not in the cards. But maybe one day,
Dude, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I tried this year. I want to get out there, man. New York's kind of one of my dream shows because that's where they say all of the big editors are. So
that's it, man. I would walk. You know what? I wouldn't even get a table there. For me, I would just walk around with an armful of comics and shake hands, shoot the breeze, hand a few comics out. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would do.
Well, that's really smart to do, man. That's what I hear a lot of people do if they can't get
I'm the worst guy at a con. I'm never at my table anyway. I'm not I'm bad because like I'm such a fan that I'm like running around getting my stuff signed and getting drawings done, and I'm trying to make sure I get everything in, and then I come back to my table and my bro's like, 5 people were just here looking for you, man. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay.
Dude, that's how it is all the time. Adina will be like, hey, Mark, she'll like call me. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm outside smoking or something. And she'll be like, you need to get your ass in here. There's like 19 people at your table. And I was like, oh, well.
And then you go back to your table and no one shows up, right? And the minute you leave, that's when, that's when everyone shows
luckily, up. Dude, I don't have that problem with her, man. She keeps them all at the table.
Right? My brother's like, I don't know where the fuck he is. You know what I mean? Come back in 15 minutes,
It's been awesome having you on. We're going to have you back on, brother. I hope you have a great rest of your night, man.
Okay, peace, man. I'm going to close out and go back to bed, but thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Rock on, bros.
Ladies and gentlemen, guess you know what that means. It's the end of the Mayhem show. Episode 36 or 37. I still don't know which one we're on. Feels like we've done about 100 of these 2 months. So really awesome to have everybody on tonight. Really awesome to have Larry on. Amazing creator, amazing influence, even for guys like me. I really, really respect the hell out of that guy. And it's cool to have Lewis back as well. Love Lewis. You guys have a great night. Really, hey, one thing before I go out there, don't forget, you can get your Vampirella comics at Clan McDonald Comics. You can get your trade paperback for the Hellbringers trade paperback and the challenge coin right now on the Hellbringers Kickstarter. So go check it out. please back us. Get your challenge coin. If you don't have one, there's only 100 made, and they're gold, and they're serial numbered. I think gold plated, or is it like gold spray, something like that. Anyways, go check it out. We love you guys. And one more thing. Everybody out there in the world, listen. Because I know y'all have a voice, right? And I'm giving a platform to be able to do this. So figured I'd say something real quick. If you can't be nice or say something nice, or if your intentions aren't nice with somebody, leave them the fuck alone. Just leave them alone. Life will be better off for it. All you guys out there, be nice. Be nice to your fellow human being. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time, man. See you next time.